Thank you, and both of you, for your opening statements. And now we'll start with our questions. I'll begin and go right over to Senator Mike Rounds. First, General Skinner, as I mentioned in my opening statement, we have to train for scenarios where we're preparing for across the whole of our federal government in coordination with state, local, and industry partners. That's why I provided $2 million in appropriations last year for this exercise to ensure that we have the infrastructure manpower to not only continue to participate, but also to win in these exercises. You might want to comment on that, how we've been able to fare. But I've been impressed with Lockheed Shield's exercise for this very purpose. But has the exercise been meeting your expectations or what you thought it could be?
Senator, the exercise is definitely meeting our expectations. The way we really sharpen our swords and sharpen our ability and our tactics, techniques, and procedures is through exercises like this. Not only with our guard forces that are a key part of our overall posture, but also with our allies and partners. The best way to learn is to learn through these type of exercises and these type of capabilities, which is really very realistic scenarios to really sharpen our swords, as I mentioned, and also make sure that our teams are working together, because as we look at potential conflict and or crisis, we're not going to do that alone. And so having our allies and partners next to us and having our guards personnel as part of that overall team is very important.
Let me ask this. How can we do a better job of coordinating these participations across all lines of government as far as what we're responsible for and the private sector to bring them in too?
Senator, I think working through CISA and working through them to get down to the state and local levels, I think is a key area that we can continue to leverage to get more participation.
Can we do it with what we have now? Is it going to take more? Is it going to take more finances, or do we have the ability to be flexible enough to get that done now under the current scenario?
Senator, I think there's a lot of flexibility, and we will continue to leverage the things that you have given us to.
Well, we want you to make sure that you move as fast as you can and get as quickly as far as the results that we're going to be needing there to be prepared. Mr. Sherman, I'm sure that you're aware of the practical implementation of the artificial intelligence, probably more than most. It's a top priority for Ranking Member Rounds and myself. We've been speaking about that and learning a lot more about that. I'm saving the majority of my questions on this topic for our next hearing, focusing solely on AI. And there's no doubt the benefits of AI could bring to both yours and General Skinner's job in the department, I think, is coming very rapidly. My question would be, what tangible AI application do you believe has been most successful? Which one?
Sir, if I had to judge, and our Chief Digital and AI Officer is truly our lead. I empower him through what we're doing on cloud, cybersecurity, and transport. But one I'll take out or highlight here is what we've done on preventative maintenance on helicopters, for example, using AI out at the tactical edge there to help our special operators on Black Hawk helicopter maintenance using AI. And that's but one of many examples, Senator. But as a former Army officer, I'm pretty impressed with that one, and not doing preventative maintenance checks and services like we've done in the 1990s or somewhere earlier, but using AI to allow our maintainers to get ahead of what they need to do to keep our helicopters flying.
You have a metric as far as savings and using AI on that?
Sir, I'd have to take that for the record, but I know it has been well used by Special Operations
If you can let
Command.
us know the savings, and we can show that we can be moving AI in many other arenas other than just that, would be very, very helpful.
Yes, sir.
Also, how can we do a better job on the committee and on appropriations, which I'm also a member of, to organize DOD's wealth of data and put it to use with AI? Are you getting all the input you need?
Yes, sir, we're getting the input, and as my colleague, Dr. Martell, the CDAO, has noted, this is where the pick and shovel work comes in for AI, is organizing our data, exposing it, creating APIs or application product interfaces where we can get to that data where it rests, not trying to bring it all together in one place. And very importantly, sir, you noted in your opening remarks about zero trust is really about protecting our data, which is what we're really doing here. It's not just protecting the systems, but making sure that data is secure so we can have accurate algorithms for all the use cases we'll need, sir.
I have further questions, but I'll turn to Senator Rounds now. This will be to both of you. I'll start with General Skinner first. Zero trust principles include segmenting networks and resources within an enterprise in a logical and consistent manner, and enforcing access and policy controls at segment and resource boundaries. The first Cybercom commander, General Alexander, famously claimed that the DoD has not one network, but rather more than 15,000 separate networks loosely coupled together. Do you agree that DoD's networks are not currently rationally segmented and has many so-called cybersecurity service providers across all of its components who manage security operations logically, and CSSPs would be aligned with network segments and remission threads would be standardized. Where are we on that? And I'm sure hopefully we corrected most of it.
Senator, I would offer the Department of Information Network is a very complex environment. And the standards that Honorable Sherman puts out as the DoD CIO and the operational maneuver that U.S. Cyber Command does makes that less complex. And we are continuing on a day-to-day basis to make it less complex and more simple. And as we do the zero trust methodologies and as we focus on the user and the data, we make it that much less complex and more secure.
Mr. Sherman, you want to take a shot at this?
Absolutely. So we've been segmented for a long time, and to your point, that we now need to rationally segment. And as we move to what we call software-defined wide area networks, or SD-WANs, and making it less about hardware and less about organizations, but a rapidly adaptable software-based ecosystem where, again, the same principle applies. We're hindering the enemy's ability to move laterally across that network, but we do this in a logical manner consistent with this very large enterprise that General Skinner described. And it is indeed one of the key pillars of zero trust on networks and environment. We call it the fifth pillar there, and it matters for other pieces too. But that's what Thunderdome is working on, we talked about earlier. And as we oversee our zero trust architecture, that's a key point, taking what General Alexander noted 10 plus years ago, but making this more rational now, and where we can manage it and be very agile to adapt in a software-centric method to frustrate an enemy's ability to move laterally, sir.
Thank you. Senator Rounds.